Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Baba ki Jai. What should we do? Questions?
Last time you said, at the end of maybe Friday satsang, that you would check on us
Aha.
now a little bit.
Yes, that's good. So, what's your report?
It becomes more and more clear. It becomes more and more clear that there is consciousness. There are thoughts appearing inside of consciousness, and that there is something in between that is get caught in this, creating a feeling of a meanness that actually is just
Okay,
totally
so
made
just
up.
let's go slow. So,
Okay.
just go through all of these in your own experience as you say them.
Mm.
So, there is consciousness. You with that?
There is consciousness.
You with that experience? There is consciousness. As you say, just stay with that experience. Otherwise, it just becomes
yes,
mental.
Yes,
You see?
yes, yes.
So we say there is consciousness. It's clear as a living, tasted experience.
Yes.
Yes. Then what was after that? That there are thoughts. So wait for them to come. You see? And they come, you can say yes. There's this thought which is, and then you can decide to say within or not within. Whatever.
Okay, so there was a thought,
Yeah.
you know,
Where is it?
it's not here anymore.
No, yes. But as it appears,
Yes.
because in your initial report you said it appears within consciousness and it goes, yes. But we're just tasting all of this, whatever we are saying. Is it? Clear? Within? Yes?
Yes.
And then you said this part, that something in the middle then gets stuck, and this feeling of me-ness is there. What's your experience of that?
The other day, you said that, for instance, the thought, I'm a French girl,
Yeah.
can appear.
Yes.
And then I was really wondering, how is it happening that this thought, it can either be believed in or
Yeah,
just
because we took this contrast, isn't it? So first we said, I'm a pink tomato, or something like that. You see, thought, again, I am similar number of noises, similar number of sounds, you see, similar number of letters, you see.
But I never tell myself I'm a
Yes,
pink
see,
tomato.
yes, but the thought can come or not.
Not really. Unless I've taken acid or something.
You see, what I'm saying is that it is not impossible for the thought to come.
Okay.
Okay, so what you are saying is that every thought that crosses you is identifiable?
Okay, so the thought, the last thought
Yeah.
I'm aware of,
Yeah.
when you asked me to, just welcome them, was, for instance, I have to buy new orchids. Okay.
You have to buy new orchids.
Yes. No, but it's good to look at it,
Good, yeah.
because can there be a practical thought like this without identified to the I as a body, as an individual entity, just I consciousness? How to how is it working?
Yeah, so we can examine this thing. So it's just like, in a way, what you're saying is that if God doesn't remember this thought, you see, or consciousness, because you're saying consciousness, doesn't remember this thought, then consciousness won't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yes.
So, but what is the source of this thought itself, and where does it appear, you say? Within consciousness. You see? So, is it like consciousness is a reminder system for itself, or what is it?
No.
Is it? Is it? So, that is why it is, this exploration is important, isn't it? That practical or impractical, spiritual or phenomenal, if you keep those aside, what is for whom would they apply, no matter what the type of thought it might be? Is there like a practical you to whom the practical thought then applies?
No.
You see? If there was some distinction like that, okay, there is a self, but there is also a practical me, you see, and here it is, you see, and that one has to do everything practically, you see, it uses every practical thought and it's just practical, you see, but this one we can't find.
That's the
So
thing.
this is the thing, yeah.
Lately, I really started to look at this me, because
Yeah.
you say I'm gonna give $1,000
Yes.
to the one who finds the me,
Yeah.
but I was not really looking for it,
Yeah.
and now,
And now you're looking.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
But
You see? So, irrespective of the quality of the thought, you see, and what it's pointing to, whether it is spiritual or it's just making lunch or something like that, you see, who is it talking about? Who has to? Like the one who has to buy orchids is which one? And I'm not even saying that the has to is wrong or something like that, you see. That also can be questioned, of course, but we can keep that for later. But the I who has to is which one?
it's the consciousness.
So, if consciousness has to, consciousness will.
Yes.
And if it doesn't have to, it won't. You see? So, what is the function of this aspect of it?
So it's to make the body move. towards the boutique.
Towards the flower shop or boutique. You see, so but this also is unexamined, that without these thoughts, the body action cannot happen. You see, because so many action, like right now, you're not saying, "I better move. I should move my head left and right." You see, it's not saying that, and yet it is moving. You see, so to go to the shop is nothing but movement of feet. Many times feet move, hand move, all of this moves. So all of this activity, when we ascribe some doership to it, you see, then it makes some limitation about what you are. You see, because all this thing is happening, so much just unfolding. It is not the belief or the notion that consciousness has to pick up on an idea, a belief, a construct for it to move this body is invalidated in a moment, you see, because so much movement is happening in the body, and not all of it is accompanied by thought. You see, and many times what happens is that action happens, and then later a thought comes and says, "You shouldn't have done that." You see, this is called guilt. You see, and the thought can come later. Very good, you did that. It's a good thing. It's called pride. You see, the you is still not found. You see, this one is still not found. So the one who should do or should not do, if you can't find it, you see, it's like almost like saying nobody is allowed into this room. Okay. Now, for the ones who enter, they should sit down in this way. It's absurd, isn't it? If nobody is there, then who should and should not? You see? And it's a very strange part of our human conditioning, where, and especially satsang conditioning, that for most of us now we have seen over and over that there is no such person. You see? Over and over there is no such one to whom these apply. And yet it can seem like it is not there, but these thoughts might still be valid for someone. You see? You see? If that one is not there, you see? Just like the imaginary friend, then to say that, okay, but it might still be valid, but for nobody. That's kind of a strange conclusion. That the thought is still valid, but for nobody.
So when a choice is made, it's made by the consciousness. It's made.
Yes, we can say that. I'm happy to say like that all is the will of consciousness. Consciousness' choice is made. But really, what I want to push in a way is push you beyond these notions of choice and doing. Is it?
Push me, please.
Yeah, that's what. Like, choice also implies doership, non-doership. So, and in our need to understand the functioning of this realm of activity, we then use these concepts of who's choosing this, whose will is this, who's choosing this, who's doing this. You see? So, if you saw that there is no such agent, you see, no such agent with that kind of will, you see, or lack of will, there is no such agent at all, then what choice can that one make?
Yes, it's just because there is a feeling of, doing this rather than that.
Yes. And that is just on the basis of how we are interpreting it. You see, it's just like looking at the ocean and saying, see what that wave is doing. You might speak to children like that. See how far it's jumping. You see? And the other wave is taking it easy, it's chilling. You see? You could say that to a child. Look at that wave, how much is jumping. But would you say it really that wave is doing that? No, you see that it has no such agent, volition, capability. You see, it just doesn't apply to it. You see? The same way it is for this body. Same way it is for all actions. That's why Guruji said, you are neither the thinker of your thoughts nor the doer of your actions. So it is only because it is interpreted as. Okay, so let's rewind a bit. So we saw that the non-existent one cannot have a choice of either do or not do because it doesn't exist. You see? Now, one way to say from a broader level is that all is the will of consciousness or the choice of consciousness. You see? But if all is that, then there can be like nothing else. I mean, there is no such thing as consciousness not choosing. You see? Because it doesn't appear. You see? So even to ascribe choice or will to even consciousness is nonsense actually, because it just is what it is.
Yes.
You see? But because we have to make a conclusion as to whose will it has to be, it feels safer now to say that, oh, it must be the will of consciousness.
Yes.
You see? But what I'm questioning is this notion of will itself. Like one who could have it, the personal one, doesn't exist.
Yes.
That we check over and over doesn't exist, so that one doesn't have it. And everything else is just that. So what is the point of saying will? It is only that, no? I mean, it has no contrast. It has no choice or not choice. You with me?
Yeah, totally.
You see? So, if this is clear about what I'm saying about consciousness, you see, then even the need to say that, this is happening because it is the will of consciousness, or this is happening because I must have chosen, you see, or the person must be here, or something like that. You see, then we see it's all just made up. The one limited one doesn't exist, so can have nothing, including will. You see, and the one that is the being, the isness itself, you see, is it is just is. Where is the question of it using will or not? You see, it is only that when we need to have a conceptual explanation for some movement or lack of movement, you see, then we say, okay, this is why this is happening. So suppose this was not part of your paradigm at all. Like you didn't know what it meant, choice, will, do, then I am saying go beyond even this higher choice and lower choice. Beyond choice itself. Because it doesn't actually apply to anyone. If you can't find what something applies to, does it continue to have meaning?
So sometimes there are thoughts.
Yes.
Did he come?
Sometimes there are thoughts appearing.
Yes. Whose choice are they, the appearing of thoughts?
So you said that it's not a choice. No?
Exactly. So it'll just come and go, you see?
Yeah.
You see? So, but one way to say it is that, oh, this is the, what thought appears is also the choice of consciousness or something like that, you see? But actually, when we are empty of that notion of choice making, then you see everything is just...
So in this unfolding, let's say, sometimes thoughts come and go and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's, they are not picked up. But sometimes they are...
Yeah. Yes. What is that? What is that?
That's the question.
Yeah. Now you look and tell. Let the thoughts come. And you tell me when you... and when they just... What are those? What do you call them? Like A bigger version would be tongs, but smaller. Pincer, like pincer?
Pincer,
Yeah, like
smaller.
pincer. What is that thing? What catches it?
So, for instance, I want to know.
I want to know. This thought came.
Mm.
Huh? And something else. What is that?
So it seems that it's rather, it's like an image or something
yeah.
hiding what I already
Spell it out a little more. How is it image?
So for instance, I want to know specifically is the thing that is getting me away from what I am, from, you know, it's a limitation. It's like,
Yeah, but what is that?
yeah, so what is the process?
No, what catches? You said
Yeah.
that sometimes they just come and go,
Mm.
and sometimes you pick them up. You see? So I picked up on that and said, what is it that picks up? Don't use any thing that you heard in
You're
satsang.
right.
Check fresh.
It's just a thought.
A thought picks up another thought.
No, but really, it's just something
Yeah.
appearing like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So it's appearing. You say there is distinction because some come, it's fine, but some come, is it like that? So what is this?
It seems that there is more interest on this thought, this
Yeah.
image, this
Yeah.
idea.
What do you mean interest?
Like attention.
Attention more staring at it? It's good we unravel these things, you see, because otherwise we'll keep hearing it.
Exactly.
But okay, so you stare at the thought harder. Is that it?
No.
Yeah.
Because every time I say something, as you say, you know, they are not, you cannot have two thoughts at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So I don't stay caught in a thought for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So
Just comes and goes,
Yeah.
no matter how hard you stare at it. You see? So attention you could go full like that, but still comes and goes. No thought comes and stays. And yet that feeling of, what is this one? Is it?
I have to answer to that.
Look, just look. You don't have to answer, but looking is useful because you say a thought comes, I'm a French girl. You see? So is it just a question of how much attention was on this thought?
It seems that the attention is very quick on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
But the intensity of the effect and the belief.
Yeah.
it
So
can-
what is this intensity, effect,
Vary.
belief? What is it? What is it?
What is it?
Yeah, what is it? What is belief?
It seems like more a vibration,
Mhm.
something.
What all positions can it take? Like what? Like a thought is coming, attention is on it, you see? And what is the posture of this belief? You know, what is the?
What is the posture?
Okay, so let's make it simpler. Just look at the thoughts, you see, as they come, and then play with them. Give your attention or don't give. Play back and forth, little bit, and then see if that apparent grabbing which you were talking about happens with any of them, and then just share a little more about what that grabbing feels like. What is happening? See, all of you can do that. Let all thoughts come, let them go, play with your attention on them. And if something grabs in this way. You see? Just look at what is that. What is that thing? What is that grabbing? What is the... Which hand grabs it? You see?
If it feels real.
Yeah,
Like
if it
it's
feels
truth
true.
about me.
True.
Yeah.
You see? So, this is what I was saying, like the posture is like this posture of truth. You see? Posture of assent, yes. That, you see? What is that? What has that sense? You see? Where is that?
Mind, ego.
Huh?
Identity.
So what is that? What does it look like? This mind or ego? What does it look
It feels like it's more like it's going,
like? Yeah.
and it's like something just like in the regular frequency there's some sort of some change,
Yeah.
and it sort of gets more attention, like some
Yeah.
movement, vibration,
So,
and then
yeah, attention is given, lot of attention. Suppose it has full attention, then
it's not even that, it's
Yeah.
not even that attention on that thought. What happens here is like maybe there's this one thought, it went, and there is something that wants to approve it, you know.
yeah. So what is that which wants
So
to approve or disprove?
and then
No, don't worry about the and then for now. What is this? Like, like she says,
Identity.
approve. Really? Approve or no? Like that.
Guruji talks about the self-image,
Yeah.
that we have a limited image
Yeah,
of
yeah,
ourselves,
yeah,
limited
yeah,
perception. I don't know exactly how
Yeah,
this
but is that
works.
the product of this? Is that the product of this, or is it that itself which grasps?
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
get.
So is that limitation or self-image
Yes.
the outcome of this grasping, or is it already sitting over there? Is it? Yeah. Is it?
When you say it, what
Yeah,
are you
you say the self-image, like the limited self or something like that. You see, is that a product, a seeming product of this process of grasping, or is it
It's
just naturally here and waiting to grasp, or is it neither? Or what is it? How does it work?
it's not. I feel it's not here naturally.
Yeah, okay.
It is construct
Construct of what? Yeah,
of this thought.
of thought.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying. So it's an outcome or a product
Yes.
of this process.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
it is not just naturally here.
Yes.
You see, can it be like just notionlessly be the limited one?
Notionlessly, no.
No. So therefore it has to be that this
Yes.
comes, attention goes, then the grasping happens, and then it feels like,
Yes.
you see, this one, you see? You see? So what you say yourself naturally, without notion, in the unborn, nothing. So, is clear this much? So then, if that limited one, the self-image, you see, is just a construct of these thoughts and the belief system, then what is naturally here?
It is not the self-image.
Not the self-image. Then what is it?
You know that I cannot say much about it. How can I answer you this?
So it's easier to answer that which is constructed
Yes.
and not easy to answer that which is just natural.
Mhm.
You see, what causes this difficulty?
There are no words in the dictionary.
No words. There are no words to describe this. You see, is that in a bad way or a good way?
Beautiful one.
In a beautiful way. So, if that which is indescribable, you see, So beyond even description, and correct me if you don't see this, beyond the greatest descriptions we can have, you see, because it just can't be limited in any box like that, you see, not even in the box of say peace or joy or bliss or love, you see, cannot be put into any of this box, you see, that is just here naturally, you see, and is this all just like words, just inferences, what we are saying?
Not at
No,
all.
not at all. You see? So naturally this indescribable one is here. And the limited or the sense of limitation, suffering, all of that is a product of construct. You see? And we notice how also the construct works. It's just a thought that comes, attention is on it, and this grasping, intellect or belief, whatever you call it, grasp onto it, saying yes, yes, or no, no. You see something? And then that adds to the construct. You see? So now the only question is, does this, this is what bothers you often, which is, does this kuch happen on its own, or can I just stand back and not do it? You see? So this would then be at the point of criticality, isn't it? Because otherwise just your natural self, so naturally here, no limited construct, no ego, nothing. So therefore, more than anything else, it feels like this must be tested, experimented with. Is it possible to just stay back
Totally.
and let go? Now you say totally, is it? That's all. So what we discuss now is all I'm saying in satsang. It's good we do this exercise. You see, otherwise we just keep talking, which I don't know what's really going on. So it's good to get this feedback and really look. Really look and say, okay, what is your tasted experience?
I just want to.
Yeah, come closer.
It's not so interesting.
It's okay, it doesn't have to be.
It's.
You just sit.
Thank you for doing this exercise with us, because if we really have the time and really look, and not like just give answers and this and that, or get answers, like really look.
Exactly.
Then like now, because my mind answered to this one question, you have this concept which kind of gets your attention, and is the limited one, is it like the one who takes it, or is it like just then? And my mind said, no, of course it's the one who takes it. It's here before,
So
but then
that's
I was,
what we have to check, exactly.
yeah, just like, but look. And then I was like, but no, know?
Exactly.
And it was like, it sounds stupid, but as if it's a new revelation in a way also. Each time I feel like it's a new thing, again and again.
Yes.
And it's...
Yes, because we can have this presumption that actually that the one that never exists is actually just sitting there, waiting to grab. But it cannot. It is just the product of an idea, and not even a real product. It's just like if you had the idea you're sitting in Maui or something, you just like this. It's just not true, and yet. So what is that? This.
And it's quick to say, give an answer like it's identity, it's the ego.
Because it's all learned.
But it doesn't reveal.
It doesn't answer anything. Exactly.
No, so it's like,
exactly.
and actually it imposes some entity. It's like this is identity. We take it for granted, but it's, thank you.
It's very good. It's very good because we've learned all this. You see, we've heard all this, and we know the terms now. It's ego. It's identity. But have you met it? You see? And who would meet who? You see? Have you met it like that? So That's why this exercise is good in a way, because then we're going beyond the terms and saying, what are you actually tasting? You see, what are you actually seeing? What are you actually finding for yourself? This is very good. You see? Because we can say, yes, it is identity, it is ego, limitation is what. You see, all of those things, but then we're just going back to the level of mind and inference and saying, okay, I know this is what it is. But when we are made to look, like actually look, who is there? What is it? And it's very good also because you find sometimes, and you'll see how persistent this mind is. You keep going, but like that day you were saying, we're crossing these levels in a mall or something like that, and you cross this toy store or car store or whatever, and then it keeps making these announcements of offers. You see, now on 25% discount. You see, happiness. Yeah. I could buy that. It may be true. All its million past offers have been fraud, but this one could still be true. You see? And, especially for you now, because you know you're almost there. You see, so especially for you now, 35% discount. You see? You see? Yeah. You see? And many times it's become the checker guy, you know, making spiritual interpretations. You see? Now, this is what always happens with you. You better take care of this problem. You see? But in that moment, accept that thought, that offer, there is no problem. You see? So, when it is making these conclusions about us that this is our spiritual problem, in that moment there is nothing but that, you see, offer for sale, which is the problem. It is saying, now is the chance, you better sort this out, because this is where you always get stuck. You see? It's coming now with conclusions, and that's why I call this checker guy my arch nemesis. You see, because everything I could say, it could add to his checklist, and say this should not happen. Okay, see, now you are doing it 70%. You see, like that, and it's just feeding you these offers. You see, and then you feel like, yes, because this is about my freedom. It is about my spiritual journey. Therefore, I must listen to it. Might be meaningful. Maybe I'm missing out the truth or something like that. You see? But it's not that. The truth is more natural, more simple than any conclusion. You see? So, once you start to see like that it has so many offers for us, these conclusions, with such confidence, confidence and authority.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I understand. Or see, this is where you always get stuck. You see? It's so much authority because it has all this evidence that it seems to pull out. You see? But we can't say anything about that. We can't say that any past has ever happened anyway. You see? But the mind will say, see, now this is what your current condition is. You see? And this is what causes you problem. But it's just that. You see? But as you coming to the more and more openness, just letting go, not latching on so much to these. That's why I asked it also to check. You see? That because many times the mind will also feed us this idea that but you are just hostage. You see? You're just hostage to these thoughts now, you're stuck. You see? And I just check. Is it possible that one thought can just come and go? You see? And just one thought can just come and go. Without me taking it to be a valid representation of what is. Is it? That's all. That to be empty only means that. To not take any construct, mental construct, to be a valid representation of what is. Like somebody came and offered you a painting of isness. You see? This painting of Isness is there. It cost $100. You see? Would you buy it? You see? You may buy a painting of Krishna, of Buddha, you see? Of Christ, you see? Of the masters and the prophets. You might buy paintings of all of them. But if someone came and says, I have this beautiful painting of Isness made 3,200 years ago, you see? And Isness is in full glory. This painting captures it fully. You see? But you have to give me the money and then I give it to you. Would you buy such an offer? You see? But every time we buy our spiritual conclusion, that's exactly what we are doing. We are buying a representation to truly be representative of reality or Isness. You see? If someone came and said, I have a sentence, you see? Now this sentence captures Isness completely. You see? It's just seven words. You see? And I'm going to reveal it to you. You see? Would you fall for such an offer?
Depends.
Yeah, that look. Only if it comes from you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. That's why it's important for me to keep reminding everyone it cannot be spoken. You see, it cannot be represented. At best, it can be pointed. All the masters keep reminding everyone. You see? So, if it cannot be painted, if it cannot be represented in any concept, you see, then if it was not naturally here, then there was just no chance. Because if it had to come, and only experiences come. You see? So, an experience means there is some attribute, some color, shape, size, whatever. You see? So, time, because coming and going is time. You see? But if there is such a thing which is the truth, you see, that we are looking for, then it must be natural and available right here, right now, independent of any conclusion that the mind can make, any visual representation that the mind is painting for you.
There is a mini but.
See.
Because it is here,
Yeah.
there is no question about it.
No question.
But there is this thought that comes regularly that is, okay, I'm aware of it, I'm this, it's fine. But I still get caught very, very, very regularly in this limited identity. And so the thought that, okay, but Ananta is aware of this, aware of his own nature all the time, or almost all the time, because you said sometimes there can be an identity. So there is still this, like...
Now, suppose the tables were turned. Okay? This is Satsang with Atma. And Ananta has come. So Ananta says to Atma that, of course, everything you say is very clear. It's just naturally here. And I'll tell you something funny though. Only thing that seems to catch me is that I still feel I get caught sometimes. You see? I added something to your report, just to make the irony clearer, which is that the only thing that seemed to catch me is the idea that I get caught more than you. What would you say?
Does it change? Does it affect the nature?
No, it doesn't
What
affect
you are?
anything.
And isn't it just a thought right now? Because effectively, actually,
No, but it comes every day.
come to that song.
I am coming. You take it. You take it.
Okay, my child, I take it.
But you see what I was saying there. You see, because I was saying that the only thing that catches me is I keep catching it. You see, in that itself, in the so-called problem itself, you see, that is the only seeming obstacle. You see, is that conclusion that we make about ourselves, that I am this way, but he is not. So from that clarity of just so clear that it is just this, there is no he, me, all of this, other, all of that, to even this mini but, as you called it, you see, mini doubt. But all this was sold, no? Suddenly now there's a him, there's a me, there's something that always happens for him, so there is time, there is space, you see, all of this, something that doesn't happen here for me, you see, this kind of thing. So it's again going back, looking at the ocean, but still asking, so what does that mean for coconut? You see, what does that mean for only that coconut? And why this coconut cannot be exactly like that other coconut? You see?
Yeah.
In one small thing. You see? But what is it? Like your first question was good. You said, does it affect anything in reality? Does it touch what is naturally here? No. You see? You see? So in a way it is still reporting on some but I still have that concern about, you see, like when will this one be like that one? You see? But what is your discovery about yourself? You were neither this nor that, or you were everything there is. You see, all these conclusions also made up. But in your seeing, that definitely wasn't a me and a him. You see? So sometimes, even though they might seem harmless, and this is just small doubt, you see, like that. But in that one sentence, all the separation, duality, all of that mix, and the minute we start presuming that to be still valid, then again we are framing ourselves back into the limited mind, isn't it? You see? Yeah. And this is that, in a way, the sort of pitfall of having this kind of dual sort of thing, you see? That, yes, what is true is just the truth, but still there is, like that. So that's why I got a bit upset the other day, but it was just like this kind of thing. You see? Because then you're again back to duality. You see? Now the thing is that empty of having that notion, does this body not continue to play out like it's playing out? It does. You see? Yeah. So if we still put that sort of condition, that therefore that makes a limited version still here, which is not my experience, you see, which I have never experienced, which you have never experienced, then we are back to the realm of fantasy, back to the realm of imagination. You see? So that's what I'm saying, that either we produce that one, you see, either we produce that one and say, here it is. There must be something flawed in your design.
We as what?
Uh-huh.
We produce it.
We, whatever, whoever is reporting now.
Yeah, okay.
You see, so either we say, here it is, you see, or we just say, I can't find it, you see, which is much more honest, because we can't find it, you see, we can't find it. So we have to get away from this like fantasification about it, you see, because again it can be like that. It's one tiny thing, like yes, it is the self, but actually there is also person or something like that. Can then just be like, but then what did we find? What did we look what did we see? You see, we didn't find any evidence. Otherwise, here would be $1,000. You see, but it is not that, isn't it?
So what is called the, I don't know, we say la main dans le sac, I don't know how to
Ouais.
say. Yeah, I'm trying to find this expression. Like, for instance, you saw my face when you said that you were angry the other day, upset, or
Oh, yeah,
And I was-
like a minor, but so minor upset.
yes, but you saw the face I just made, you know, like a kid who is caught, you know, who has done something wrong.
No, it's
So,
not.
yes.
It's just that in a way, what is also apparent is that this one is very, very soft. You see, is this thing, and sometimes in the softness, you see, some things which are clearly points for you to get stuck in, maybe too sugar coated, so maybe they are missed. You see, so this recognition is also coming here more and more, that sometimes in my kid loving it, you see, something which might be holding you back in a way, because I don't want to hurt your feelings or something like that, or just like this thing, because I'm like all my children, like you've seen with my kids have me wrapped around their finger in a way. You see, but that is fine till the point that it doesn't become detrimental to satsang itself, isn't it? So I feel like it is important to, when I spot something, I should point it out clearly that this could still hold you back. You see, and especially in this case, because a lot of the talk about consciousness comes from that source here, what is spoken is, and it is all about consciousness and not seeing that there is no individual there. So we're just going to be like, okay, all of that is okay, but when we really, really get real, it is this kind of thing. Then what are we saying? Why are we leading such a dualistic life? You see, say one thing for like satsang time, but then when you're out of satsang time, then say, but let's get real. This kind of thing. It might be a moment, an incident. Who knows what the source of that thing comes from? But I cannot find myself approving of that conclusion in any way. You see? Because then otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I agree. It's just that I'm still searching, still,
yeah, of course,
listening.
I understand.
And yeah, it's true that sometimes it's a little bit contradictory, but it's not.
In a way, now that you say that, in that way it could be good. If it is in that way, which means that it prevents you from making any conclusion, even about what you are discovering, tasting for yourself. You see, but your mind is still. That is okay. You see, but if we start resting on one conclusion, either of it, you see, then that's why that whole exercise we went through. That can any painting define it? Can any concept describe it? Really, it cannot. You see, but if we start looking at that as a representation of what is, and say, but actually, it is like like this. You see, then it has us back, stuck again.
Okay, that gives me the occasion to really look.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, I cannot describe it. Okay.
It's good, see it.
Yeah, but there is a sense, maybe it's totally made up, but
No,
it doesn't feel like that this uses this instrument to do its own thing.
yeah. It's okay. It's not a bad concept as far as concepts go. But if you really investigate it, you see, what would uses mean? You see? In the sense, what? I mean, I am all there is. I am consciousness. God Himself. Is it? Now, what use I have for using? I mean, what is using? That therefore, it implies that I have a need. Something is missing. Therefore, I have to use something to get. Is it? So all of this brings us back into that kind of worldly paradigm that of doer, is consciousness a doer, non-doer, or am I? You see, how is this being used this way or not being used this way? So all of this applies this sort of limited paradigm, which is contrary to what you're finding. You see? Now let's use this as an example. So, consciousness uses this body for what were you going to say? Finish the sentence?
Do its thing.
To do its thing, okay. The consciousness uses this body to do its thing. Confirm it in your experience.
For instance, if I go to this shop to buy an orchid,
Yeah.
Without this body, consciousness is not going to be able to do it.
Okay, so what I was saying more is, just like you're speaking these words,
Mhm.
see how consciousness is using the speaking of these words to do this thing, to do its thing.
Okay.
Don't conclude it, but just check it.
This
Just
is-
check.
Yeah. This is why I'm speaking, just to check it.
Yeah,
in the
that's
meantime.
perfect. That's perfect.
It's weird.
It's good because this is when it really comes into focus, you see. Otherwise, we can hold on to a notion like that, which is okay, but remember, I'm pushing you beyond even this stuff. You see? So these words, okay, let me say from my experience and you say from yours also. I see some words are appearing, like spilling out of this mouth. You see? I don't find any sort of sense that, if I say like this, it will be helpful for me in some way, or it will be, you see, it's just, I don't find the use or not use, or like a purpose or non-purpose. What do you find?
Sometimes it's funny because, of course, I don't see my face, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm aware of the face,
Yeah.
you know, of the
Yeah.
how do you, expressions
Expression,
on my
yeah.
face that I was not aware of just previously.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely it's not a mini me doing it. or
Yeah, no
something,
mini me
it's
doing it,
just-
and also not consciousness doing it with like, this is what I want.
Mm.
And because this is what I want, I will do like that. Is it this kind of thing? Now, that's why we use the term play. You see,
Yes.
play is one of my favorite terms in satsang because it takes away this notion of getting to something or consciousness having some intent or purpose behind this. You see, this kind of thing, and
It's much more instant.
it's much more like,
It's
yeah, but play is also like, it's not perfect as a word. It's better than purpose or intention or something like that. It's just play. What is the intention of this play? What is the purpose of it? To play. You see? Why you want to play? To play. You see, it's just like that. You ask a kid why you want to play. Just to play. You see, there is no why. In the same way, it is also not perfect because even play can seem like consciousness one day was getting a bit bored, so it just wanted to play. It's not like that, you see. It's not even like this. It is just so empty of this like desire or something like that. That why would it want to have a desire to achieve some purpose or even like a desire to play or something like that?
can't we say the joy of experiencing?
Yeah, but that would, in a way, like you can say, very, very beautiful masters have said these kind of things. So I'm not truly contradicting that while contradicting that a bit. Is again what is the need to put that description? It is just our need in a way, playing as the limited one, to have a sense that I figured this out. You see? To put words to the wordless. Like, if you met two lovers, you see, and you see the guy, he's just talking about what love is this, love is that, love is like this is what happens in love, you see. And the girl gets irritated after a point, she's like, yes, I'm in love, you're in love, why we have to define it so much, love is this and it is not like that, you see. So, and you'll notice that the ones who are in love find themselves most tongue-tied about describing love. You see? Because they see that whatever words I use cannot explain anything. You see? What are they really explaining? So even subtler in a way, even prior to such a purity and pure love, you see, is this just is, you see, it's just, so to experience the joy of experiencing, would it want to, is it like a want that it has to experience the joy of, it can't, I mean it's okay, but like pushing beyond even these constructs.
So is the only thing one can or you can actually say is that, well, you can't say anything about this, but you can just say things are appearing, this is happening, and this, and it seems to happen. It's just like, that's it.
And you start inquiring into this. I'm telling you, start hunting for duality. You see? And you notice that what is appearing and disappearing.
Well, that's the term we use now.
Exactly. What I'm saying, maybe sometimes we give it too much value. You see? Like when we started exploring like the play versus intent versus joy of experience, all of these models of why universe or why manifest creation, versus even when we start looking at we're talking about this appearance being a play and something just appears and disappears, you see. So when we check, you find, what do we find? You see? We have to again buy into the notions of past being existent, future being real, all of these things, away from just naturally what is, to even say something appears or doesn't appear. You see? And I know that these can seem very subtle actually. Like, when I'm hearing this, many of you might even be saying, but now that is too far. I was okay till play versus purpose. You see? I was okay till up and down also. But now he's saying that even appearing, disappearing is just notional. You see? How far can I push? Even push, not push.
It's truly beautiful because I posted something on Heart Altar today.
Yeah.
And it's such an impulse to write that I trust that Sadhguru's grace is taking care of the situation. But just from walk, after posting that to here, it's like, just in that one thing, so many conclusions, like subtle and hidden, about, like, and then to just, even in a way, to see that crutch being taken away.
Yeah. Yes,
And
many conclusions can be formed, even the most beautiful words, you see. So, just this like radical emptiness, you see, radical
so
emptiness.
Like, it was such a joy in a way, like even joy is really small to explain, like what it unveils, It's so raw, like alive, like, and then you wonder that why would you want to exchange this every time?
But even that why can be the doorway to suffering, like, because even in that is contained this like.
It's like when it arose that time, it was more like
I
a
know,
wonder.
wonder, yeah.
But it's true, it can easily.
It can easily become self-judgment. It can easily become the checker guy, you know.
If we accept that consciousness is making you do something,
Yeah.
Consciousness is deciding your destiny, will that reduce the role of mind?
If you pick up the notion that consciousness is the one doer, will it reduce the role of the mind? Is that the question? Okay. But this is presuming that you cannot do without even this notion.
Because the mind just want to drop this mind, so something else has to take over.
Okay, okay. So as long as it feels like something else has to take over, this is good. You see? As long as something else has to take over, because it's like saying Guru Kripa Kevalam. You see? So, fine. Let Guru Kripa Kevalam take over.
That will reduce
Yes.
the intensity
Of course.
of my,
Of course.
this monkey.
Yes.
Because this monkey is playing all the roles.
Yes, yes.
So if I say no, you are not the boss,
Yeah.
then somebody else is the boss.
Yeah.
Will that?
Yes, yes. It's very helpful. It's very helpful.
Will
You see
the
that?
observer become the observed?
Because it cleans up so much mess. You see? Guilt, pride, you see? Regret, remorse, resentment. You see? If you see that all is Master's grace. You see? All is the divine grace. Then what is the role for all of this? And suffering is what? There is no actual thing like suffering. And it is just a made-up term for all of these things. Guilt, pride, remorse, regret, resentment, what else? You see, it's a full collection of just some arising sensation mixed with conceptual thing. It's a nice recipe. You see, guilt, you see, pride, you see, like that. Now, once you say all is Master's grace, then who to resent? Master? Okay, resent the Master. Even they say it like that. If you have to get angry with someone, be angry with the Lord. You see?
But then I'll not get caught with that something that consciousness is doing. Then again you get into the game. Then I shouldn't get into the game.
See, if the game seems too, like that's what you said, it's too broad, too many different players and all of that, you see, then you make it unipointed, unidirectional. Credit also consciousness, blame also consciousness. You see?
So that will reduce the control
Yeah,
of mind.
all of that extra stuff will go. You see? And the more you hold on to this, the rest will start to get cleaned up. In a way, I call this remaining at the Master's feet. You see? It doesn't have to be physical feet. You see?
Because taking control of mind is impossible. So it is better to create something else
Yeah.
and throw this fellow out.
Yeah.
So I think this consciousness, if I accept that yes, there is something else other than mind, which is consciousness, which is making me do things,
Yes.
then probably mind will lose its domination.
Yes. It's fine.
And then the process of emptying will become easier.
Yes. It's good. It's good. I'm really enjoying these interactions. Friday and today, Saturday, I don't remember. We had, I don't know what we did. But it must have been fun.
Can you elaborate on this? The observer becomes the observed.
Abhi, we said we're leaving everything to consciousness. You see? So what happens then is that you
Mind
said
is
that there are many other pursuits and the mind gets fully consumed with
again,
them.
mind is talking.
Exactly. So it goes into those
So
things.
the statement is of mind.
Yes. So what happens is that that's why I say just hold on tight to the Master's feet. You see? Because then you can hold that on. It's like the, this story, that elephant in the marketplace. He's very, how the elephant is, with his trunk it wants to taste everything. So what does the elephant man, the mahout do? He gives it a stick, you see, to hold with the trunk. As you hold the stick in the trunk, then it can't go here and there. You see? Now you'll observe that the mind will have a tendency to do that now. It'll drop this and it'll say, okay. Or it might even claim that now that I have truly seen that it's just consciousness. You see? Now I can go into some deeper realms or something like that. It's none of that. Just the stick is so that that monkey mind or this trunk does not keep getting distracted everywhere. So that stillness, that sthirta, you see? Once that comes, then it's only this monkey nature of the mind, the chanchalta of the mind, which keeps it so, you see, so much the center of our attention.
All the time you are in the begging process of the grace. If that grace comes, automatically it will happen.
Yeah.
But
No, but also you are not setting any result for yourself or outcome. You see, when it has to happen, if it has to happen, whether it has to happen, yes, no, maybe, all of that is consciousness. You see, you can feel whatever resonates most with your heart. If it's consciousness, consciousness. If it's God, God. If it's Krishna, Krishna. If it's Ram, Ram. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which representation. Christ, Christ. You see? So, God for God's sake then. Not, then God is for God's sake. Not so that God, if I go to God, then I will then ultimately.
No, that condition is not going to
is
take
not-
us.
Exactly.
That conditional stuff will never work.
Yes.
It will never work. It has to be unconditional.
Yes.
Otherwise, this even consciousness will play game.
Exactly.
So that consciousness also has to be unconditional.
Yeah.
It's ultimate kind of a. I mean, I won't call
It's a letting.
surrender.
It's a letting go. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because it's very difficult to make the statement
No.
surrender because it's a very, very
Yeah.
strong sentence, very strong stuff. So take care, let consciousness is taking care of me. It is the partial opening of a window to open the final door.
No, that's what I'm saying. That is a condition.
That is the condition.
You see,
That has to be
that's why I
done.
said God for God's sake, not to open window, not to close door, not to, not for any outcome which our mind is deciding.
Yeah.
Because then it'll keep checking.
Ah.
Acha, is this like this? What is like that? You see? I was told this will happen. This kind of thing. So
Because you become result oriented.
yeah, so you we try to use the term surrender, which I understand completely that it is a big term to use, but it is in that context that I use the term sometimes surrendering with one eye open. You see? Surrendering all you, whatever you do, whatever, but just make sure this, you see,
But see that
this
when
door
you
is
do that
open.
for
You see,
me,
this window is open. So whatever that condition might be. You see?
So there is no window, there is no door.
No window,
Absolutely
no
conscious.
door, no inside, no outside, nothing. What is the difference between the will of consciousness and the Guru's grace? No difference. No difference. This, whatever term we might use, Guru, Sadguru, Lord, Divine Presence, Consciousness, it's all synonymous. Even if in the terminology there's some qualitative differentiation or something like that, but actually synonymous. You can just consider it to be synonymous. Father thoughts which have desires embedded in them seem to get picked up. When hungry, thoughts about food and the desire to eat take up attention and belief. How is this to be dealt with? The natural reaction seems to be to fulfill the desire till it disappears. Hunger is just an example. That's why what we did, I hope all of you are following along to see what is it, what is this grasping, who grasps. This kind of inquiry, this kind of investigation, for those who are temperamentally like this, open to inquiry in this way, then that is good to look. For those who are not so much temperamentally inclined to this, then to see that, okay, whatever desire comes is also Sadhguru's problem. What gets fulfilled or not fulfilled is also Sadhguru's problem. What does my thinking or not thinking about it have to do with any of it? Thank you.
What should one do when you get it become you feel so helpless that you want to cry?
It's very good news. You see, it's very good news. And this has happened here. You see, they're so helpless, and all those difficulties were happening in my business, and before that I thought I got it, and just like I saw that when really life started slapping you around, it was still full of suffering and all of that. So I remember crying out in helplessness. I give up now, I give up. What do you want from me? You see? Just throwing a full tantrum with God. It is very auspicious in a way. This crushing of the ego, it's not fun to experience in a way. But Guruji uses this term. He says it's like vomiting. Nobody enjoys it while it's going on, but you feel lighter once it's over. So when the crushing happens, what is being crushed actually? All our pride, all our arrogance, everything that we thought we knew, or everything we thought we could conclude safely. You see? If we had no defenses, what could be attacked? If we just open space, what will a sword cut? It's only when we erect a effigy there, or we erect a sort of entity, mentally erect an entity there, that can be chopped away, chopped at. Good, my dear. I was just going to ask about it.
This question has been coming up from Saturday, so
Yeah.
please do pray.
No.
The I self is, the self.
The self is
Is
the
camouflaged by this identity I. And when you say something, it's like a concept being picked up.
Yeah.
You know, like it's framing. Like I'm still putting it in the box. You see, like
Yes.
and I don't want to do that. Like
Yes. This is good. So the true self, I, camouflaged with the limited I thought. Camouflaged with what? The camouflage is what? Just come. The good thing is that the camouflage itself is not substantive, it's not tangible. It is just conceptual. It's just a thought. So you're starting to see that. That's why you're saying that even whatever is conceptual and becomes part of the camouflage, and I don't want that. You see? Now, don't want that is also camouflage or no? Like either want or don't want is camouflage. You see? Because you can retain the idea of your limitation based on either I want or I don't want. You see? If neither are apply to you, then
I don't want to pick up concepts enough for the mind, you know. It's like just collecting more garbage.
Yes.
And I don't want that. Like, it's just adding information. It's not helping.
So there are one of two positions you could take, isn't it? Like you could have, like all of us, grown up with the idea that I want better and better concepts because my life gets better with them. You see, that is one position. The second position is like, I see that they are all garbage now, I don't want. You see, like that. Now, what I am suggesting is you let go of both.
That's also a choice, you know?
In a way, I'll come to that.
It just like feels, yeah.
Is it? So, I want, I don't want. These are the two ends. Is it? What is more than don't want? Really don't want. Is it like, so it's like really don't want. It can't go beyond this. Is it framing, isn't it? Like you said. So see if it is possible to check and see that right now you are not in that frame of either wanting or not wanting.
Can we look together?
Yes, that's it. Right now, what is here? Is there someone here who has the position, either position, wanting or not wanting? You can say whatever, we are together in this and there is no right or wrong answer. Just say whatever.
There's still this desire of, you're still collecting garbage and you're not getting it.
Yeah. And these notions that you are still collecting garbage itself is not garbage. It's also included in that. It's just notional in a way. You see? So let this also come and go. Is there someone who owns that desire? Who could be the owner of it? Is this body saying, I don't want thoughts anymore? Who does it belong to?
Whatever answer I give is again going to be garbage. So.
But did you, in your finding, it doesn't matter what the answer was. When you looked, did you come across like such an entity for whom it could belong? Is it? So either of these positions are not applicable because that one itself doesn't exist. Is it? The one who could say, I want to do this, not do this, or now I don't want to have any of this garbage in my life, it's just thoughts, just concepts. Now, how do you feel? You tell me, because many times what can happen is we feel like it has to be either this or that. Like it has to be I want or I don't want. Does it feel like that for you?
No.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Wanting, not wanting.
But then the mind picks it up, you know, after some time. Yeah.
Like, I don't want it anymore.
I don't want this collection of information. Already enough is collected, and that itself is not, there's this difficulty to draw. I mean, there's a strong identity.
Show me where it is.
It's all made up now.
Yeah.
Why is it
If
so
there was actually a strong identity anywhere, we would actually be in trouble. You see? But we're just playing with these dolls, you see, in our mind. It's nothing, it's just a doll house.
But it doesn't seem like a dollhouse.
Yeah, that's why it's Maya, no? Leela. If the design was that it came and it doesn't even seem like it's real, then what fun would there be? If one though it is not real, upar se it doesn't even seem like it is real, then there will be no fun. You see? It is that Maya then which does not even seem as if it is real. Then we like because it seems as if it is real. Because it seems as if there is a snake, there is just a rope. You see? That seeming gives it that bite, that juice. But that seeming can be seen through, which you are doing. You see?
I don't know if that's happening.
But to even say that there is strong identity is the seeing through it, no? The ones who are really strongly identified, are they going around reporting, oh, there is strong identity here? You see, they don't even spot it. The ones who are really caught up in the mind are never saying my mind is so strong. You see, because they feel they are it. They feel like their conclusions are the valid one, they are speaking the truth. It's just they don't have this sense of distance. They cannot tell like something that you say, which is that but it's all garbage, you see.
So the mind knows it, okay, or whatever, something, it knows that whatever you're saying is going like inside, wherever, okay. But what's the point? Like, there's no.
Does there have to be a point?
Okay, it doesn't have, there need not be a point.
There need not be.
But what's the.
But if there need not be a point, does not automatically imply that it is pointless. You see? Now, it's again in that opposite framing. You see? I'm very happy you used the word, because in the limits of our intellect, it is either meaningful or it is meaningless. You see? It either has a point or it is pointless. You see? And we have been trained, conditioned by everything in a way to say your life should lead to more and more point, more and more meaning. You see? It should be a point more and more. You see? And now you're starting to see mind is meaningless, it's all garbage, so no point. But you're not being able to replace with a new point. You see? Like, I see that the mind is garbage, but am I not coming to the true meaning of life, which is this new point? You see, but you're not. You're breaking the barrier of this paradigm of your life being stuck in the middle of these opposites. How far are you following? You see? So if having a point or pointlessness did not matter, how would you be now? Free, you see?
Why is it so? Sometimes it's so easy.
Yeah.
I'm there. You know.
Yeah. And sometimes it seems. That's why it's Maya. ये बाल भी धूप में सफेद नहीं हैं. All this has happened here also. Just notice, I enjoyed very much your report, because you are starting to notice the tricks of the mind, and you can see that this, you see, and it keeps you juggling in that oscillating position, See, because it only knows like that. You see? A pendulum really does not understand neutrality, and the mind is like the pendulum. It's just like this way or this way. Like either point or pointless. Either got it or not. Easy or difficult. You see, keep framing and putting you in the middle of that frame. You see? And make a limited version of you. But in satsang, what is happening is that you are dropping those frames. You see that what applies to me? What applies in reality? And you find that nothing your intellect can offer you applies to you in reality. And it's a joy to hear you speak about this, to recognize this kind of, you see, the constraints which our intellect gives us, to have a recognition of that. You see, it's good. Music to my ears. So well. Because many times, even in spirituality, even with the so-called advanced seekers, they cannot find themselves able to let go of this paradigm of opposites, either this way or that way. You cannot escape the tentacles of words. You see? And then they hear more words, especially if they come to satsang like this, they hear so many words, so then that adds to like more and more tentacles, more and more knowledge, more and more this thing. You see? But sometimes they just hear something, you see, or in the moment of silence, either whatever, it just something. Then these words start seeming insipid. You see, they just like passing breeze. But you don't have to interpret, that don't mean anything in reality. You just they start chasing these breezes. Oh, got this go. Oh, God. Like this kind of thing. They just when you encounter a tranquility for which tranquility is an insipid word, you see. You meet an openness for which open and closed are nothing easy. Thank you all so much for being in satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Moji Baba ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.